Yeah, optimism, which is tough sometimes, right? Because we catch ourselves watching the news, and we go back and forth, and we just get into that loop sometimes of the negativity, and it's hard for us to get into that positive space. Is this a situation that's going to make your relationship better, or is this a situation that's likely going to make your relationship worse? Because again, I don't think people really think about how much time they spend apart from each other. And when I say apart, I don't necessarily just mean physically. I mean mentally. I'm just now learning how to be a decent husband, right? Men tend to be slow in the uptake, right? I'm just now learning how to be a decent husband. And one of the things that I'm starting to understand that I didn't really understand before was the idea of how I could be in the room with you and not be there. As I get a little bit older and more mature, I start to kind of understand a little bit about how you could be right next to somebody and be a million miles away. And what that does to a relationship when that is the case. And that part is difficult. So how do we deal with that? How do we deal with the being forced into this space and being present and really being there? It's making every engagement genuine, no matter what that engagement is. The other piece of it is okay, now we're talking about the relationship component. We're talking about how are you engaging with kids, but now how are you doing those things while managing the stress of what's happening? If you're a person that hasn't that has a business, particularly for our entrepreneurs, as an entrepreneur, a lot of these people are my very good friends that I care about deeply, and I can tell you, man, there are people who are going through it right now. There are people who are going through it right now. Even as we talk about doing a responsible thing, being at home, social distancing, and all of those type of things. And we're talking about, particularly in South Dakota, getting to a shutdown. When we talk about that, and you talk about the idea of a person who is looking at their life's work, and in some cases, they have to watch it die. It's not even that it doesn't work. It's not even that it was failing. It's not that they missed the market. It's not that they weren't doing good customer service or creating a great product. This thing that's out of anybody's control, they have to sit there and they have to watch this thing that they have poured all of their soul into, partly what makes it difficult to go home, and they have to sit there and look at it die. I think people need to understand the gravity of what that does to a person mentally and emotionally. Because as we talk about health, we often only limit it to physical health. We rarely talk about mental and emotional health in the same way. And I think sometimes we have to step back. And if there's anything that we get out of this, is understanding the level of isolation some people are under, the pain and suffering that people go through, the thin line between somebody being successful and not, somebody winning and somebody losing, how thin that line is, that businesses that were running just fine a week ago might not make it. Relationships that were in flux now are being forced together. If there's anything that we get from this, is understanding that we are absolutely in this together. When we say a better you is better for everyone, that's not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. That's not just a cool thing that we say. It's legit. A better you is in fact better for everyone. It does not make any sense for me to see people who are in my community, and now even more to the point, see people who are in my household that are not healthy or happy or mentally where they could be, and be okay with it. It just doesn't make sense to do. It just does not make sense to do. Have those conversations about how you can be intentional about the type of family that you want to be, the type of relationships that you want to have. Challenge your friendships. Make sure those friendships are stress tested. Make sure that they're real. Make sure that there are people who are engaging with you now, right? And we're all going through it. So check in on people, take care of each other, love each other,